Welcome everyone to another week of the Focus TV. Well, Octavia Wyatt here, Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Tarpey Jr. This is season 9, episode 24 of the Focus. I will get things started, like always, with Ray in the Washington Mystics.
Yeah, man. Mystics season is officially underway. They stand at 1-1 right now. They won on opening night, hard fought game against the Tempo in that franchise's first game. And on Sunday in their home opener, they fell in a tough battle to the Liberty 98-93 in overtime. Yeah, man, pretty much same formula for both games, really. Their core, Shakira Austin, Kiki Eriefin, and Sonia Citron, they did the heavy lifting with contributions from the others. In a game against the Tempo, we saw the bench struggle a little bit. We saw Lauren Betts; she wasn't able to score in limited minutes, and Cassandra Prosper, she started but eventually fouled out, and Roy Harmon came off the bench, provided a spark, especially on the defensive end, and did a good job running the show as well. Saw Georgia Amore get her first action after sitting out the entire season last year with the injury. So it's good to see her out there and see what she could bring to this team against the Liberty. That was we pretty much looking at that game as kind of a litmus test of what we really could expect from this team. The game against Tempos, hostile territory. They held their own and squeezed out that win against the Liberty. That's the team that's looking to be in contention. So we just wanted to see how they would compete against a team at that level. They were right there at the end. Just a few things got away from them, namely the free throw shooting, 3-point shooting, and turnovers. We talked about it in Outlook. If they clean up just one of those things, then that game goes a different way. But nevertheless, man, some good showings. Already talked about the three core players and Shakira, Kiki, and Sonia. But Lauren Betts, she looked more comfortable in that game. She was able to record her first score, and officially get in the books in the WNBA. And yeah, again, Cassandra Prosper got to start. Just love what she brings defensively. Her versatility with her length and athleticism. It's going to do wonders for this team and what they want to do. Angela Dugalich as well. 6'4" on the perimeter. That size. Like we've said it a million times, basically since the draft. This team is huge, man, and they're looking to take advantage of that. But yeah, one thing they got to do, they gotta make free throws. They missed 9 free throws in a 5-point loss. So they step up to the line and knock those down. Then we're looking at a different outcome. But nevertheless, man, 2 good showings to start the season. We're again a thing we're going to hear a lot about this team. They're the youngest team in the league, so they're just looking for constant progression throughout the season. But me, Wilson, and Cardell said on Outlook, like the expectation changes a little bit, based on what we've seen them be able to do. Shakira Austin, coming off the best season of her career, and she's pretty much picking up right where she left off. And last year's rookies as well, Kiki and Sonia, they're coming off all-star seasons, and they started off this season out the gate strong. So yeah, man, they got a strong 3 they can rely on and pretty much go toe to toe with any other trio in the league, as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm putting on them, and I'm sure they welcome that and are going to be able to rise to the challenge. I just got to see what the others are going to do around them. Of course, Georgia, she's PG1 at the moment, doing a pretty good job. We emphasize her ability to get into the lane and compromise defenses and what that's been able to do to open things up. But the thing I've been most impressed with everyone is how they compete defensively. The offense, I feel like that's going to come as time goes on. At any point, the shots could start falling. And if that happens with the way they defend, then it's going to get interesting around here, man, because they smother teams. We saw what the Liberty did in their season opener. They ran through Connecticut, and the Mystics pretty much had them at hell. They've harassed Stewie into a 9 for 23 game. Jonquil Jones fouled out with 13 points. You know, that's no small task. For the Liberty, just they had Marina Johannes. She just kind of got loose, and Astier as well just kind of picked up that slack. But that's a deep team that is looking to be there at the end of the season. So you know you got to expect that from them. But yeah, man, the way the Mystics defend, they're going to give themselves a chance in every game. And like I said, with the strong core they have with that big three, they're going to put themselves in a position to be there. They just got to capitalize and take advantage of those situations. So yeah, man, they'll be back in action on Friday against the Indiana Fever. That's another team coming off conference finals appearance last season. So another good test for them. Um, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited. These first two games have kind of shown a lot, and I feel like it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it as you mentioned. So don't forget to get over to the channel so you guys don't miss pregame outlook for any of these upcoming games. I don't think they return home until the end of May, and then for much of June they'll be at home in Care First. But yeah, Ray, to push the Liberty like that, regardless of who the Liberty we're missing, like, hey man, shout out to the embarrassment of riches the Liberty have and Marianne Johannes and Miss Pauline Aspie. We found out her name very quick the first two games of the season. I don't know who had that on their bingo card, but shout out to Liberty for got to pull out the bailout card. But yeah, definitely looking forward. Also, the NBA side of things before we get to the playoffs. In case you guys hadn't heard, the NBA draft lottery took place on Sunday. For those of you outside the area, the folks inside the area already know what happened. So let me just go ahead and get that up on the screen. For the moment, is in terms of when the Washington Wizards, found out that they clinched the first pick after 3 years of rebuilding and this last year of outright tanking to ensure that they kept their what was it top 8 protected pick and the best of best scenarios worked out. John Wall represented the franchise on Mother's Day and came through for the Washington Wizards once again. And Washington will be selecting first. But now I will put this up on the screen for you guys as well, just the entire lottery. Obviously, again, with the Wizards having the first pick, just want to get you guys' thoughts. And obviously, the Wizards having the first pick, and then the entire lottery where some teams fell as a whole. Octavia, we'll start with you and then right.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, number one, congratulations to the city because I feel like they've been trying to do this for so long. Um, it's kind of crazy, that it's taken this long. I believe he said this is like the first time. I can't remember how many years it's been since the statistical team that actually did the worst in the previous season actually got the number one pick. I think the Wizards have been statistically the worst team the last couple of years. And it's always been slightly heartbreaking just to see them not get the number one pick those couple of last years. Um, so it's definitely interesting to see it for them. Um, yeah, this is their first time getting the first pick since the man who was up there representing the Washington Wizards of John Wall, since they had him as a first round, the first overall pick in 2010. So full circle moment for them in that aspect. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with it now. There are so many different options. I know a lot of people are calling for possibility of some movement going on, as far as will they keep the Anthony Davis of it all? Will they move him around to try to get some more leverage? Um, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest draft expert when it comes to this aspect of it, but AJ Devonta looked pretty good this year. Um, I don't know what other options they're really going to be looking into. I know it probably sucks for Utah. I saw a tweet that was kind of hilarious that it said that the Utah franchise has been paying him for the last 2 years and now they can't even pick him. That's kind of interesting. I had to put it all together. I was like, oh, they are in Utah, with him playing at BYU. So interesting enough. But yeah, it's definitely difficult, especially for the other teams that may have been tanking earlier this year, the Utah, Memphis, Chicago. Although they did get into the top four, so good for them. But outside of those, Brooklyn, who we know has been kind of doing some things and some tanking and some things, but I think it's interesting to see like how we see it now and then how we'll see it next year with possibilities of the anti-tanking rules and how these things will really shake out next year. So all in all, I mean, this is the part where I mean we're I believe less than a month or just about a month away from the actual draft. When these teams are gonna have to start narrowing down what they want to do with their draft strategy. So now comes the fun part, where the front offices have to actually do their job, and make good decisions for the franchise. Because I promise you, the fans around here do not want to hear it after this. They are going to be clamoring even more than they are right now because again, let's be real. When they had the number one pick in 2010, at least the city was fun to be in for the Washington Wizards. You know, when John Wall got here and Bradley Bill and the things that they were able to do, although they weren't able to bring a championship or anything to the city, but it made them have a little bit of noise. And with the youngins that they have they're cultivating, the Trey Young of it all, whatever they decide to do with Anthony Davis, and now potentially DJ AJ Diabonte. I always want to say AJ and then DJ. I don't know. AJ Diabonte possibly coming into the fold. They have an upside. It's just how they're going to carry it out. So just interested to see how it works out.
Ray, your thoughts on them actually getting the number one pick after these last few seasons of coverage, sir?
Finally, now we can stop this foolishness and be a functional basketball team. That I'm just happy it finally worked out in their favor, so we can get to work now. They've wasted several years of these young players' careers. You know, they got mission accomplished. Now next year we can be serious. So that's what I'm looking forward to, actually seeing what this team is capable of under normal circumstances. As far as the rest of the lottery, I really don't have a lot of thoughts. Like Octavia said, man, only one person is going to get the grand prize. So everybody just willingly throwing away their season is foolish. And I'm happy that they got what they deserve. And one thing that stands out is that Clippers pick, which which they got from Indiana. Like that's gotta hurt. But again,
Uh,
congratulations.
it's really nice that you brought that up. We're gonna get into that a little bit later, um, because that pick is hilarious for all of the reasons. Yeah, I'm just happy it finally we got to the end of this part of the process, right? Like last year was to me, last year was the toughest because the previous 2 years drafts, like you had enough. Like think about this, you had enough talent where you didn't even have enough bad youngsters where you could just let them play all year to get this result. Because if you let them play all year, they would have ruined this. They were that good. Like you had enough talent where if you just let the kids go out and play, you probably would have lost you would have lost the pick. And so we know the lengths they had to go through to secure the pick. And yeah, in terms of have the number one pick, like think about what it's getting added to. So so far under this regime, it started in 2023 with Bilal and Tristan Vucevic. 2024, you had the three those three in the uh, those three in the 2024 draft. That was Alex, Bub, and Keyshawn. Last year, we saw Trey, Will Riley, and Jameer. Just back to back years, just stocking talent, which is why last year was hard to get through. Last year for sure. Um, I'm sure we'll get into this, Wizards outlook and all that. This actually, you go back. There's what is it? I think we talked about the close out the season, and Wizards outlook, right? I believe we talked about the draft and the scenarios in which where we leaned. One of those weird scenarios, this was like the in case of emergency scenario. Apparently, we're here. Feel free to go back and find out, and it'll let you know what the three of us were actually thinking during that point. But on to this other thing that's happening in the NBA, the NBA playoffs. Uh, Ray, we'll start with you there. We the Thunder have made their way through to the Western Conference Finals and are awaiting their opponent, and the Knicks have made their way through. So your thoughts is, we're watching the second round, you know, come, watching the second round work itself out, while we got a couple folks just sitting and waiting and resting.
Yeah, man. The Thunder. I think we've all been in agreement since the playoffs started that they be in this position. They handle business like a team, and their position is expected to. They're the defending champs, number one seed. They clearly look like the best team in the playoffs, and they swept their first two opponents, which they should have. So, that's that's a team with laser focus right now, and they're sitting back with their feet up, waiting for Minnesota and San Antonio to handle their business. Yeah, man. Whoever wins that series is going to be in for a tough one. They're going to be Minnesota's already wounded, so if they come out, they're going to be battered even more, and they're facing a team that's just clicking on all cylinders. So yeah, man, whoever makes it to the Western Conference Finals is going to have a tall task ahead of them. On the East, the Knicks, I'm happy to see them playing this way. They look like they were dead in the water at a moment in that first round series, but something clicked, and they've been on one ever since. They got past the Hawks, then they dispatched the Sixers in 4 games. They look like the team that people were expecting them to look like, and that's what you want to see around this time of the season, man. They had some doubters, and at the moment they're proving them wrong. So they're sitting back and waiting for Detroit and Cleveland to finish beating each other up. Detroit, they got themselves another dogfight of a series. And Cleveland has an opportunity to kind of shed some of the doubts that's been surrounding them. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, the Knicks are getting closer and closer to making Becky Hammon eat her words. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who comes out the East as well. But yeah, man, the way the Knicks are playing, I think they figured something out with this group. And as long as they stay consistent, if it's not broke, don't fix it, man. I just don't want to see them get to a point where they outthink themselves and move away from what's clearly been working for them. So yeah, man, if they stay the course, then they could find themselves playing for a championship.
All right, Octavia.
Yeah, like you said, Thunder. I mean, they did what everybody thought they would do. Especially, it's always even though I feel like they did what everybody thought they would do, it's still impressive. Like I feel like we still need to give them the respect that they deserve because they have been playing well. Notably without Jalen Williams for a good portion of this as well, and they've had a lot of players step up. The AJ Mitchells, the Cason Wallaces, Alex Caruso, who's always a glue guy. I mean, Hartenstein in one of those games had a ridiculous start to the game where I think he was like 4 for 4. And I mean, even in game 1 for them, Shea, and I don't know if anybody mentioned it, and I don't know if maybe the streak was already over, but I know earlier during the year, he had a streak going of 20 points or more in however many games. He only had 18 in that game, and they still won by 18 points. They're just able to do just great things against the Lakers. I mean, it didn't help that Austin Reeves didn't play well. I think Rui Hachimura did everything that he could. LeBron did everything that he could. It just obviously wasn't enough. One thing about the Lakers that I want to say, it feel like Luka Doncic is rubbing off on Reeves a lot. I've never seen him complain and argue with the refs so much. I really thought it was Luka on the court half the time. But yeah, they're definitely back to the drawing board to see what they're going to do next year. As far as the San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves series, just what the doctor ordered. This is one of the better series, of course, and even with the injuries that they have, with Ant coming off with the knee injury and him already saying that he's not 100%. The physicality of this, we saw the elbow by Wemby the other night. Naz Reid has been beat up from the feet up as well. We know Dante DiVincenzo has injured as well. But like I said, I think that midseason pickup of Dosunmu has helped them a lot. Julius Randle has been playing well. And I mean, even 80 or 90% is still a very good thing to have, and it's proving that for them. But I think on the Spurs side, it just kind of comes down to what we all kind of thought about, was just like they're kids, for the majority of it. Are they really going to put everything together? With Wemby being out in the last game, they weren't able to pull that out, even though they do have a lot of practice and reps with playing without Wemby this year. They've had those situations where they haven't been able to play with him. It didn't help them that I think De'Aaron Fox also got a little bit injured. He had those thick ankle braces on, but his ankle still got a little bit tweaked. They're going to just need to keep playing hard. And I'm interested to see how tonight's game goes, especially because of the physicality of the last game. It's just going to be a tough series. The Timberwolves are not going to go down easy, and we know the Spurs aren't either. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. Cavs and the Raptors have actually kind of shaped up to be quite interesting. Now, I think the saying is that the series doesn't really start until somebody wins on the road. So nobody's won on the road yet. We got, everybody's kind of kept it even so far. So now it's a best of 3 game series coming up with them heading back to Detroit. James Harden has been Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde at times. He's played well-ish in these last couple of games, but we know how those turnovers and not playing defense can kind of bite him in the behind. Donovan Mitchell's been playing well, and then I think that was the most emotion I've seen out of Jarrett Allen in probably I don't know how long. He was playing really, really tough in their last game, and you could tell that they're really trying to do something. The Pistons, of course, it's just reminiscent of how their whole entire playoff series have gone. They have times when they're really, really on, and then they have times when they're really, really off. It just depends on if they're going to have more on games than off games. Cade is doing everything he can as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. Tobias Harris is helping out. Jalen Duren kind of is in and out as well. Dennis Jenkins is somebody that they have to depend on as well. But I think this one is I still feel like the Pistons are going to pull it out just because I feel like the Cavs are going to trick it away as normal. But you don't know. So it's shaped up to be a pretty good series. And we'll see how that one shakes up. The Knicks and the Sixers. It pains me so much because I just cannot deal with Knicks fans if they do anything that they do. It's just ridiculous. But me being not biased and not petty, they're on a historical run as far as their games. They won their series by an average margin of over 20 points, had a 39-point blowout in game 1, 30-point win in game 4. They scored 108 points in every single game and held the Sixers under 105 points 3 times. I mean, Deuce McBride, I think they were calling him Trace McBride because I've never seen him have 4 back-to-back. I mean, it was just crazy. They're literally on one, but they're hitting their stride and hitting their prime right at the right time. Mikal Bridges has come back to the party. Welcome back. He's played like we've seen him play in the past. So it's happy for him that he got out of that terrible slump that he's in. But they're definitely getting some well-needed rest now. Like I said, they've had some injuries. We know, I think Mitchell Robinson was out of game for illness. We know OG kind of always teeters back and forth as well. But yeah, they're on a historic run. They've hit their stride ever since they went down 2-1 against the Hawks. I think they're undefeated since then. And they just been killing it. Even with whatever you want to call the 76ers did out there on the court at times. Which I'm still just shaking my head that the Boston Celtics lost to them. It's just crazy to think that in the interim of this. But congratulations to the Knicks. Like we said, this is what we expected going into the season. with the wide openness of the Eastern Conference, these are the teams. The teams that are left in the East are the teams that we thought would be up there, minus the Magic, that we thought would have an opportunity to kind of fight it out. And we're 3 for 4 in that space. And the Knicks now, they get to wait. I think the series doesn't kick off until Sunday, so they pretty much have all week to rest. While, like you guys said earlier, the Pistons and the Cavs kind of beat up on each other. Last night's game that the Pistons lost, just I hope it doesn't come back to haunt them. Just because, like, to be able to close out tomorrow versus having to win 2 more games and get closer and closer to playing a 7-game series and have to turn right back around and play against the Knicks is going to be a tough task for them. But interested, looking forward to seeing it. I'm kind of getting sad that the playoffs are almost over at this point because I don't know what I'm going to watch during the summer besides baseball.
Yeah, with you guys, with the Knicks, they're returning to the Eastern Conference Finals with an opportunity to return to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. So kudos to them for getting back to where they were last year. For the Sixers, gotta feel weird. Some news came out today. Looked like the Knicks broke them. So interesting. We said last week, depending on how some of these things go for some of these teams, uh, furniture may be on the move. And the Sixers wasted no time in moving some furniture, like immediately. And for the Pistons and Cavs, I think the Pistons just squandered a huge opportunity. You had a chance to at least win a game on the road, put you in a place where, like Octavia said, you're heading into a closeout game at home. Instead, now the pressure's back on you because whether you like it or not, youth is irrelevant. You're the 1 seed. You earn the 1 seed. This is how it goes. The pressure's back on you. For the Cavs, I know it's only fair. We've been on them for when they didn't, for when they've been. I'm trying to find the right way to say it. For when they've been lacking. So we give them credit for responding accordingly to tie the series up to a crazy game from Donovan Mitchell. In that last one, what was it, 39 in the second half, which was
Yeah.
absurd. 39 point second half. So that's crazy. We saw Harden bounce back in the game before that. Like, I mean, that's great. Evan Mobley we saw a post from Evan Mobley, which was great. And then we'll find out from the Pistons, like, what did you learn from that very tough series that may have been unnecessary in round 1 against Orlando? We're gonna find out a lot. And Detroit, like Jalen Duren, they need you, sir. At some point, like they need you to show up and be what you were during the season. The other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, right? This was somebody who kind of like put off the extension to bet on himself this year. Like this is the stuff that doesn't help right now. Like it was great that you had a hell of a regular season. This negates the performance in the playoffs. You're just like scratching the regular season, all the positivity from the regular season. You're just scratching dollars off right now, brother. Like it's not good what's happening right now. And just being honest and what have you, with the Knicks, like you guys said, like it's good that they figured out that who knows, play through your bigs, life's a little easier. Cool story. And Mike Brown, it took all year, but look, you know, um, and to me, this is where it really begins because you fired the guy from last year for getting him to this place, right? And not being able to advance. So right now, it's just 0-0. So, like to me, you fired Tibbs for getting here. That wasn't good enough. All the Knicks went through, Mike Brown, good and bad. You're right here in the same place, so we'll see what it looks like. And at least you get the rest, like you guys mentioned. On the other side, yeah, it was chalk with the Lakers. I wasn't trying to be flippant or rude a couple weeks ago when we were previewing that series, but as I said during the matchup in the regular season, and it came to fruition. That series was 8-0 this year.
Damn.
Right? It again. I wasn't trying to be flippant. I wasn't trying to be rude. It's again, y'all love numbers until you don't like numbers. They were 8-0. Hell of a fight. LA put up, and the what's it called? The closeout games are always the toughest. That said, hey man, it's over, and we'll see what moves in LA or doesn't move or what happens. And yeah, I'd say LA as a whole, I won't even go just AR. The one into the refs thing just been crazy because y'all been getting away for it all year. The Thunder play hard defense. All right, the league accepts. It's kind of like when the LOB was in NFL. They gonna do the stuff y'all said they doing. You know what the ref said? Sometimes we gonna call it, and sometimes we not. You wanna know why? They're consistent. Get the hell over. Get over. The one Laker want to shout out. I thought Rui Hachimura had was probably the most consistent over there. I'm anxious to see what it looks like this all season for him. I'm not even gonna get into the taking him off the court later, whatever. That's their business. That last series, Minnesota and San Antonio. We saw what happened. What was that game? Was that game 5 with Wemby getting ejected? And early in that game for throwing an elbow. That's game 4. Okay, game 4. I'm sorry, because this is game 5. Thank you. So game 4 wouldn't be getting ejected. San Antonio went into that game up, went into that game up 2-1 in the series. Wemby gets ejected, rightfully so, because you can't just judo chop somebody with your elbow in their neck. You can't do that, regardless of what they're doing to you. You can't. Um, some of the extra talking about the what else should have happened from people who have been habitual offenders. It's kind of crazy to me. We'll get into that a little bit later. Also, like whether you like it or not, hey man, star power's a mother, bro. Y'all not him and life's life. So they said time served. He didn't finish the rest of the game, and he's back. All right, y'all don't like it? Should have did more. It's a part of it. Anybody remember when Mike and Reggie got to scrapping? Reggie got kicked out the game. Mike got to finish the game in Indiana, and then Mike got the punishment like some irrelevant punishment after the game. Hey man, the rules are the rules. It is what it is. That's the part of it. But yeah, I can't wait to see how that series ends. The Minnesota, not Minnesota, but yeah, Minnesota's experience is huge in this one. And it's fun watching the Spurs kind of. I don't care if we're young. We're just gonna keep throwing haymakers and see what lands. It's been fun watching that, and obviously we wouldn't be back. Anxious to see how that goes, but looking forward to seeing the ends of that because man, as you guys said, you know who's waiting in the wings. Like that's a hell of a series while they're beating each other up, and OKC's over there resting and thinking about their lottery picks and everything else as they prepare for the Western Conference Finals, which is nuts. But all right, man, we're gonna move into take it or leave it. So let me get that off the screen. And I told y'all we were gonna get here, right? I told you, Ray, you brought it up. We're gonna get here. So we are here, Kevin Pritchett. This is his tweet after the draft lottery. Take it or leave it, wanting this level of honesty from the president of basketball operations from the Indiana Pacers. I'm really sorry to all our fans. I own taking this risk. Surprised it came up fifth after this year. I thought we would do some luck, but please remember, this team deserved a starting center to compete with the best teams next year. We have always been resilient. Octavia, your thoughts? Going back to Ray, who brought this up earlier, the only interesting thing in the lottery, which I would agree with him, very hilarious, interesting thing in the lottery was the LA Clippers. After everything they went through this year, having the fifth overall pick because of the trade of Ivan Zubac.
Yeah, it sucks to be them. It's like it goes back to like when we talk about when you have a window, like you have to capitalize on it. Like to think that this time last year they were playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, and life comes at you fast, real fast. But to potentially lose out on, and again, I'm not the best draft expert, but I would say a pretty decent top half of the lottery, the players that are going to be coming out. To miss out on that for Zubac is wild. No disrespect to Zubac, you're a great player, but let's just keep it a bean. Um, that sucks, to be fair. And I think, but I will say I will take this response. I appreciate the taking the responsibility and saying these things because a lot of them they just be like, whatever, I did what I wanted to do, it's my team, I can do what I want. I do think in Indiana they kind of take it a little bit more seriously. We know that's one of those tough blue collar cities, and to go from what they were this time last year to Tyrese Halliburton being out, their whole team basically being different. Miles Turner no longer there. Um, this team deserved a starting center. I mean, Zubac, okay. And again, this is no shot to him, but I'm sure there are other options that would have allowed them to keep said pick. But here we are, and life comes at you fast. Hopefully, Holly gets better. And so I think he's also fighting with shingles, which is crazy. So hopefully he's able to get better. And I mean, he's young enough that I feel like that this Achilles, like we've seen what Jason Tatum did, but the fact that he has the added part of this with the shingles, I'm not sure how much that's affecting his rehab as well. So hopefully he's able to kind of get back so they can have some type of semblance of normalcy. But it's that year that they had last year was, I hate to say it, it just felt like a one in a million type situation that unfortunately for them, they got the SHIT end of the stick when it came to a very pivotal point in Halliburton getting injured and then missing that opportunity to go to the finals. Even though, let's be real, if they went to the finals, let's be real, the Thunder would have been there. So neither here nor there in that aspect. But yeah, sucks to be them. But I appreciate you, Mr. Kevin Pritchard, for taking ownership.
Right, take it or leave it. Your man's response to this after the draft lottery results become.
Oh man, I'm leaving that. Like, you literally didn't have to be here. Like Octavia said, no disrespect to Zubac, solid player, but feel like you could have got somebody on that level without doing this. And then to make a mid-season trade of that magnitude in a year where you pretty much got a mulligan anyway. Like, you just play it out and then see what you could do over the summer. Like, I just don't understand the thought process. Um, and, and like a top 4 protected pick, like, bruh, like that was, yeah, man. He took a hit on 19. Like, why would you do that, man? And then to come out with this tweet, like, this would not make me feel better as a Pacers fan. So and then in this this era we're in with all these penalties and the second apron time, you giving up draft capital of that magnitude and a young good player for a solid rotational center. I just don't understand. Yeah, but we're here now. Good luck to Kevin Pritchard, and we'll see how they dig their way out of this.
Yeah, you just gotta leave this. It was even with the pick, you went out your way, like you said, you had a mulligan in your back pocket, and then you also did a little tinkering to ensure that your pick was going to be worth something, which is weird. So either go full mulligan, and then you started mess. You started. I was one of the teams that was manipulating your way down the board, record wise, cleverly with some of the other folks here. At least they had the wherewithal to just see it through. Why did you abandon? Like, as much crap as I've given the Wizards and Jazz for this year, at least they saw it through.
They jump ship.
Like, you went down that path, you committed to that path. At the last minute, was like, nah, and then traded the only thing that you couldn't trade. So yeah, that sounds good, being resilient or whatever, man. This is a tweet that someone should have took your phone as soon as the results came out. You just grabbed your phone. You should have been on like 72-hour lockdown away from social media because this. This was just not good, man. All right, on to the thing that happened in Game 4. Metro Wemby was ejected due to flagrant two foul for elbowing Nas Reed in his neck. Essentially, take it or leave it that the ejection was enough. When you got Draymond Green and Kendrick Perkins and some others saying he should have been fined and suspended for this, and in turn, you're saying that you know he's above the law, whatever they're going with. But what are your thoughts on all of this type of this discourse about it should have been more by people who were who they were.
Yeah, both of them need to shut up, especially Draymond. Like, dude, we've seen you load up and kick people in the nuts in the Western Conference Finals, and nothing happens. So I don't even understand why you're speaking. And we could bring up his highlight tape of egregious plays. Like, dude don't have no mirrors in his house. He can't, because like, pot meet kettle, man. Like, and that's even a false equivalency, because this was a one off for Wembenyama. He reacted in a moment. The ejection, all right, cool. I live with that. But yeah, anything beyond that, like you said, Wilson, like, we're talking about two different guys here. They're not suspending him in the playoffs for that. It just is what it is. But yeah, the two dudes that was running their mouth about it and complaining as if they were the patron saints of good sportsmanship, cut it out. Please cut it out. So yeah, man. Like, I'm leaving their commentary, because that just falls on deaf ears given the type of players they were.
Not the Patriots Saints. Octavia, your thoughts on this new discourse, Draymond Green and Kendrick Perkins?
Oh Lord Jesus! Like you guys said, pot meet kettle. Like, it's yes, it was a temporary lapse of judgment. We can see from this picture, it wasn't a good look for him in that space. We know that, but I call basketball a contact sport. It's not a heavy contact sport, but it's a contact sport. And playing devil's advocate here, I mean, look at this picture. I mean, Jalen has his arm basically around my man's neck, and he's 7'3". So I don't even know if he's on the ground at this point, or if he just has his hands around his neck and pulling him backwards. So it was a physical aspect, and it happened. I think a lot of times we should realize at this point, for as many opportunities as we've seen in the playoffs or situations like this, that they do take history into account when they're looking at these things. Victor Wembanyama has no history of doing anything like this. He was suspended. I mean, he was ejected from the game, which, to be fair, I agreed that he should have, just based off of the letter of the law, how the rule is actually stated. And they lost the game. Now I can understand if you want to get nitpicky about fines and things of that sort. But yeah, like Wilson said before we started, he's Victor Wembanyama, and you're Kendrick Perkins, and you're Draymond Green. Everybody has a place within this ecosystem, and his place is a little bit higher. And at the end of the day, it still is a business. While it's a sports business, it's still a sport. It's still a business, and they got to put their product out there. Because could you imagine him not playing tonight? Oh my God, that would just be crazy. Like, they're on commercials now, so I can't see what the score is, but it would just take so much air out of this amazing series that they're having. And yeah, Kendrick Perkins and Draymond Green can say that now because they're not playing, and Draymond is not in the playoffs anymore or ever, because I don't know if the playing counts. And then Kendrick Perkins is retired. But to be a player and a former player and wish that on another player, like, you don't want people y'all didn't want people sitting up on ESPN and all these podcasts calling for y'all to get fined and for y'all to get ejected out of games. And here y'all are doing the same thing to him. Let it go. It was a bad move. He got suspended. The league did what the league does, and nobody's going to change Adam Silver and the people that are up the top, man. I just thought it was kind of soft for them to do that in this space. And then next week they're going to be saying like, you guys shouldn't talk about us and say these type of things, and they're doing the exact same thing. So, um, and I think they brought up a good point. Was I mean, it was fairly early in the game, so I mean, it was early in the second quarter. I think the only comparable thing to this in the playoffs would have been kind of in the play-in with LaMelo Ball and Bam Adebayo. Uh, Melo didn't get suspended either. Now, yes, he did get fined, but again, not Wemby. So, sorry, guys.
Yeah, look, I just thought it was funny. Because this is the first time he's ever did anything in 2 years or in his career, and they're
And
ready to
he
just
also has a little bit of a history too, so I can see why LaMelo got fined because him and Bam have had dust ups more than once in this situation. So that's another point when you talk about comparing it to what LaMelo did in the play-in versus Bam, because I would think that was the second time they've had a situation like that.
you're gonna stop making points. People don't like those. They said what they said. That's the discourse and the narrative we're going with. How dare you? How dare you respond possibly with the truth? We
Hey,
talked about this already, so we're not going to mess with that. Hey man, it's here, so it's not my fault. LeBron had this to say during last night's media availability following the game. I think you guys asked me about retirement, and I've answered questions. I don't think I've come out and been like, "Oh, retirement is coming." With my future, I don't know. Honestly, it's still fresh from losing the series, and I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for me. So just for you guys, take it or leave it. Bond hangs it up, or we get at least one more year, whether it's in LA or not. I don't even want to get us all that. Just I guess
mm,
it's it, or we get at least one more year. Right.
It needs to be over, but he's for sure not leaving this game without trying to manufacture some type of mass celebration. I just don't see it. Um, but yeah, I mean, for all the grief we give him, like it's nothing to play for. He's amassed an amazing career, and he's not gonna add anything to it at this point. He's not gonna have any type of massive success just based on where he is in his career, and what he requires. Like if he's willing to take a step back and allow other people to do some heavy lifting, then yeah, he might be able to squeeze another ring out depending on the situation. But 23 years of evidence says he's not going to do that, and I have no reason to believe that's going to change within the next 6 months. So yeah, man, like that. Last night should have been his last game, but yeah, he's just not he's just not going out quietly. Um, like you said, there's no need to speculate what that looks like next year, but he he's in a tough spot because the place where he is, that relationship seems to be headed towards divorce. And then is another team willing to bring him in when he still is wanting 2013 treatment? That remains to be seen. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's just time to walk away.
All right. So Ray is leaving it. Octavia.
Yeah, so there is no way in this entire universe that LeBron James is retiring without a farewell tour. Absolutely not happening. This is LeBron James. He's not going to try to bask in it as much as he possibly can. I don't buy it at all. He's going to like, and not to say it's a bad thing on him. I know when you retire, you have to start thinking more strategically. Now, granted, it's LeBron. He has money out the wazoo, but I'm sure they say people who have money always want more money, so I don't blame him in that aspect of it. But he's definitely going to monetize a farewell tour. Get out of here. You know how much stuff yeah. There's no way. I do think it'll be interesting, like you said, not to get too deep into where it'll be at, but it will be interesting knowing that, like Ray said, the relationship between him and his current team does seem to be deteriorating. But the one aspect that I really find interested in that is Bronny Jr. What will that look like? Everybody is speculating, will he stay? Will he actually leave his son in the Lakers? Will he require it to be a package deal wherever he possibly goes? But yeah, to answer the question at hand, I don't think it's over. I feel like he does this every year, so that's why I kind of rolled my eyes when we got to this point. Like, he was like, I don't talk about retirement. Yes, you do. Like, I like, that's the part that I'm just like, you do, bro. Like, you literally, like, I don't even know. It wasn't that long ago I heard the quote where he was like, yeah, when I retire, like, my wife is getting all my time, like how much she's sacrificed, which of course she has, but that's you talking about retirement. Like, it's it's okay to say that you talk about it as well. Like, don't pretend like you don't. We're not retarded, bro. Like, you're 41, almost 42. It should be something that's talked about at this point. But yeah, I think he gives us one more year, whether it's in LA, whether it's in Cleveland. I think today people are talking about he can end up as a Nick, which I think is terrible. But yeah, I definitely think he gives it one more year to at least get the farewell tour. Like, there's no way. I mean, he did a fake me out retirement announcement last year, guys. Like, you really don't think he's going to try to get, and it ended up being an advertisement for Hennessy. Get out of here. When that happens, it's going to be a whole shebang. So just be prepared.
Not a shebang. Yeah, y'all got it. I'm not addressing this at all.
Hmm.
We won't go with what y'all had to say. I ain't doing that to myself at all.
Background.
Now a playoff team here, but you know who?
Oh, it's okay.
He's been the headlines all year. Uh, According to Shams Sheridan and ESPN, the Milwaukee Bucks are open for business on trade calls for the man you see on your screen. Two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo entering the NBA draft combine, and over 6 weeks away from the draft, league and team sources told ESPN the Bucks engaged in Antetokounmpo trade talks before the February deadline as a franchise. Cornerstone expressed his belief that the time had come to part ways. They now will again after co-owner Jimmy has them stated a resolution is coming before the draft on June 23rd and 24th. So we set a date to it apparently. Nothing has changed in Giannis' stance that the time has come for both sides to move on. So as I said, quote, sometimes over the next 6 or 7 weeks, we'll decide whether Giannis is going to sign a max contract to stay with us or he's going to play somewhere else. Haslam told reporters Wednesday during a news conference where they introduced their new head coach, Taylor Jenkins, and general manager John Horst. Taylor, along with Wes Edens and myself, will make that call. We understand the gravity of that call. Take it or leave it that he's actually going to be moved. Right.
Um, I want to take it because this should have happened 2 years ago. He Since 2021, he's done nothing but underachieve and complain.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about that. He's still a great player, but I don't know what's flipped when they won that championship. But since then, it just seems like, from the outside looking in, of course, that his attitude has become more and more diva like as time has passed. And over the last couple years, is that situation has just seemed very contentious. These owners are way better than me because as soon as you start talking like you don't want to be here, especially a player like that where you can fleece somebody to the utmost, yeah, I'm getting you up out of here. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, we don't have to meet. We don't have to figure anything out. You don't want to be here. I'm sure somebody else is going to be glad to have you, and I'm going to be glad to get a king's ransom in return. So, and now they're at the point where it's desperate, and they're trying to move something at the last minute. So, I'm a big fan of doing these type of moves too early rather than too late. And now the team is is disheveled basically, and you're starting from scratch. So yeah, I'm gonna take it. I don't think he's in a Bucks uniform next year.
Octavia.
Yeah, I'm right with Ray on this. Like, this saga of Giannis and the Bucks is almost as annoying as the whole AJ Brown saga is, and this has been going on way longer than the AJ Brown saga has. It's to the point where I don't even. I think I physically have tuned out anything that's Bucks related and Giannis related because I was definitely a couple of days behind on the Taylor Jenkins hire because I just was not. If it had anything to do with the Bucks, I don't want to hear about it until next year and they figure out what's going on. But yeah, I'm definitely taking because it just needs to happen. It has to happen. We have to stop playing this nice guy aspect of, it's similar to, and I say similar, it's not the same. It's similar to the Dame situation where Dame was weighing if he wanted to leave Portland or stay. I want to be here my whole career. I want to bring them a chip. But in the Dame situation, of course, he just did not have the opportunity to actually bring them a championship. Now, I'd say they had the opportunity, they just didn't do it, obviously. They had some time, especially when he was a little bit younger. Um, Giannis has done that. He did do that. I know it hasn't looked the same since then. It's okay to be like, hey, this was a great part of my career and I love it here. I love you guys. I brought you guys a championship, but I think it's best served for both parties. Me as a player, this as the franchise and this team and their fans. Rest apart ways. I just think Giannis doesn't want to be the quote unquote bad guy. That's why he keeps kind of going back and forth on does he want to be, does he not want to be like I'm indecisive, so but I've never seen somebody this daggone indecisive where like where do you want to be? So I'm taking it because it needs to happen. Um, let's just find out, let the cat out the bag of where he's going to end up because now we're in that space where we're back to what the trade deadline where everybody's speculating where he's going to end up. So now it's the is it Boston? Is it New York? Is it here? Is it there? Who can afford to get him? But I just really hope that both parties just move on. Like either I wholeheartedly I think they both need to move on. But even if they just make the decision that this is where I want to be and just solidify it and stop talking about it, I would be okay with that too, if that's what you guys want to do. But at some point, a decision needs to be made, and they need to stop being scared of whatever the fallout is. I think people are being too PR heavy about I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to look like I'm pushing our franchise star team person out. Like just get it done at this point. I think it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's sports, but it's a business. We got to get things done. Things have to get done in order for us to move forward. So hopefully they actually do this because like I said, trade deadline, they had said that this was happening, then all of a sudden poof, nothing happened. I will be very upset if that happens again because I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Like Ray said, this is something that should have been done. It should have got done at the latest right before this season. Like clearly, I was headed for a breakup. You got rid of some other pieces. Like even just looking at the roster, like we see what's on the roster. Like you're like in this weird transition stage. It's not a roster that's put together to support this guy. If this is where if you didn't put a good team around him, right? Um, yeah, I'm anxious to see what it does and if if and when he's moved, how much does it even affect the lottery? Honestly, and then also I want to see what the actual price is. And I hate to keep bringing this up, but Mikhail Bridges, this is on you. It's like the price that was paid for you is the price that was paid for you. I'm interested to see what the price is paid for Giannis. Um, and then who's willing to come pay it, and kind of tied into what you were talking about, Ray, where with you talk about Braun with you don't really see anything like crazy happening in terms of anything new. Like outside of some she trying to go like full expendables out here, like nah. And then if somebody's going to do it, who's going to do it? Who has the pieces? Who's willing to do all that? Where you go all in on like the expendable age type dudes for a year, and yeah, you might be able to get three of them at what cost? There's also like I think what is he 30? Bro, what are they going to charge you? Like they already got the 10th pick in the draft. Just throwing it out there. I'm just, if I was them and I had one of these, the things I'm saying are crazy. we're starting at a crazy place of like your future firstborns right now with that anti-tanking thing coming. That's my brother in Christ. You understand what y'all are sending to Milwaukee? Like I want y'all to talk to me like I got OKC's war chest after this trade. Like we just gonna be sitting over there looking at Presti together. Like look at what we've amassed, and my roster don't look nothing like OKC. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. We'll see how all this stuff shakes out. By the time we talk to you guys next week, be another week into the WNBA season, obviously, and we'll be that much closer to, as Octavia said earlier, the NBA season take another step towards a conclusion. I think we'll have Cardell back next week. The combine is happening right now, so I'm sure we'll have more news coming on the other side of the combine, and of course, going back into this trade type stuff because madness is madness, and I know everyone can't wait to see how this stuff ends. And I'm sure by next week, some NFL team's going to do something to make sure that they get themselves in the news cycle as well because the NFL loves to make sure that they're never left out.
Yeah, we're getting close to June 1st.
We're getting real close to what is it? The post June 1st cuts and some of y'all with the free Ayuk stuff out there. All y'all with y'all's weird discourse and narratives. It's getting real close. So I can't wait to see what happens. Y'all have a great week.